Dude, the job market is honestly cooked right now. The other day, I was looking at jobs for hotel industry work, which is currently what I do. I'm in hotels, and there's all of 15, and they all required multiple years of experience. Now, thankfully, I do have multiple years of experience, but regardless, let's just say you were a college graduate and you got a hospitality degree for whatever reason, and you go in and they won't even hire you for a job that doesn't even require a degree, but it requires experience. Now, the job market is cooked when Harvard graduates can't even find a job. I think I saw something online that said the average Harvard graduate now it's taking 8 months to get a job, and that's the 40% that could get a job. 60% can't even get a job in the industry that they were wanting to get into. And the only other jobs that they could get were low wage, like retail and stuff like that, which is messed up to think a Harvard graduate is working at Macy's. Like, it's so beyond cooked. So I decided I'm going to come on here because I didn't take the college route, but I've tried pretty much every business model under the sun, and I'll tell you which ones are worth it, which ones are not. And if you don't want to start a business, then there's still other ways to make money. So I'm going to start off with the jobs, then I'm going to progress into the businesses and the ones that's going to make you the most amount of money. So if you do want to retire one day early and not work the rest of your life, you'll be able to. So we're going to start off with the worst of the worst, the bottom of the barrel, college. You can go to college. If you're going to do it, make sure the job you want actually requires the degree. I think I saw online only 5% of jobs actually legally require a college degree. And those are doctors, lawyers, engineers, stuff like that. But all the other jobs, they don't legally require a college degree. So if they don't require it legally, there's no reason for you to even have one. So unless you're going to do that, do it right also. Go to a community college for the first 2 years, then transfer, make sure you get your scholarships, all that sort of good stuff. There's also a way to get your college bachelor's degree in less than a year from WGU. If you want me to make a video about that, comment college, and I'll go ahead and drop the sauce. No one talks about it. I've seen 3 people on YouTube talk about it, but it's such a great way to get your bachelor's in such a short amount of time. So the next one is the military. Do I really want to sell my soul to the government for $20,000 a year? No, I don't want to sell my soul to the government for $20,000 a year. Granted, you do get raises and stuff, but I think after 4 years, you're making $30,000, $40,000 a year, which honestly for 4 years of your time isn't really worth it. Now, granted, you do get a college, you get a college scholarship, you get it all paid for and stuff. That's great, but I wouldn't recommend it. Next is blue-collar work. Blue-collar work's pretty good. You can become a chef, you can become a welder, you can become an electrician, but you're working with your body. Now, you're going to be making bank. You can start your own business with it. And honestly, if you just want kind of a chill life to where you might have to work 10 hours, 12 hours a day, and you're not afraid of work, and you don't mind moving around physically, honestly, electrician sounds pretty swag, Being a plumber, working on some pipes, going into some hot single lady's house, that'd be pretty cool, bro. I'm game with it, but you're still working with shit, So I don't know if it's 100% worth it. That's up to you. But it pays the bills. It doesn't cost as much money as going to college. You're not selling your soul to the military. And you make a pretty nice bag. So honestly, as far as jobs goes, probably the best job you're going to get. Next, I wouldn't say the worst, but it's the most soul-wrenching, and that's just starting out in an entry-level job and working your way up. McDonald's managers make $70K a year. Granted, you're going to be working there for a long time, But if you have your parents' support and stuff, like, you can make money. So it's soul wrenching. The work's horrible, but you can make money off of it. So there is that. Just work your way up the corporate ladder. Now I'm going to get into the businesses because I feel like that's what a majority of Gen Z wants to do. So I'm going to start off with probably the worst one, and that's day trading. Day trading, 99% of people lose money in their first year. Like, go mega negative. Not even, oh, I just made like one bad trade. No, they like lost all of their money. If you're going to trade the stock market, swing trade, like hold on to it for like a week or so and then make your bag and then split. Now, I know someone who does this who probably makes about 2 to 3K a week. So they're not making like mega money, but they're basically retired. They're chilling. They literally work part-time just for the insurance benefits and just because they're bored, which is a pretty good place to be in my opinion. Next, I would say, is crypto. Crypto, you can make more money because the market's more volatile, but you can lose more money. So unless you really know what you're doing, it's basically gambling. Now, Bitcoin right now is at a pretty low. So I definitely recommend buying that and just kind of using that as passive income. I say passive, but you don't have to look at the stocks every single day. And it's going to go back up to about 100, 120K eventually. So buy in now, sell it later, dump your money in there, do your thing. Next, I would say, is e-commerce. Now, e-commerce is a double-edged sword. At first, you definitely want to start drop shipping so you don't have to buy all of the stock straight up. But eventually you're going to have to get a 3PL, you're going to have to buy stock and inventory, have a warehouse and all that sort of good stuff. But you can make a lot of money pretty quick. Now, the only downside with e-com is two things. One, it does require some upfront capital. You're going to need about 2 to 5K to start off. And granted, you don't need it all at once. You can put in 500, put in 500, put in 500, and it's mainly for ads. You are going to need a couple of tools like Canva and CapCut and other stuff, but if you have a winning ad, you're literally at all times one winning ad away from winning. And you can get really in depth with some funnel economics and all that sort of good stuff. The second downside is that you do need to have a lot of skills. You need to know a bunch of stuff. You need to know how to market. You need to know how to deal with these suppliers. You're going to need to know how to build a good website. Eventually, you're going to have to know how to onboard, and you're going to have to know how to manage people and stuff. So it's a great opportunity if you're willing to just absorb the suck and you do have some money that you do want to invest into it. But if this is like your first business like ever, you've never gotten to sales, you've never like managed people, you've never done any of that, then it's going to be a little rough. There's a lot of skills you're going to have to learn. Next, I said it's kind of a job, kind of a business, but sales. If you're good with talking with people, this is great. It's just volume. If you don't care about getting rejected, go get into sales. Go be a car salesman or be a remote closer. You will get so much rejection, but at the end of the day, if you're an extrovert and stuff, this is a great opportunity for you. I did sales for a year. I hated it. I'm an introvert. I don't really like talking to people. It's not my favorite thing to do in the world, but it can make you a lot of money. And in my first year of doing it, I did make a good chunk of change, but I hated my life, and I was working 12 to 16 hours a day. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's worth it unless you love talking to people. Next on the list is services. So physical services that you can do for other people. Now, this could be physical services or it could be digital. I think the physical ones are a whole lot easier because all you have to do is knock on doors, which there's sales required in it, but you keep all of the money. Like no 10% commissions, all of this money is yours. And you can be more genuine because you know the fulfillment that you're going to give. So you can knock doors and say, hey, Mrs. Johnson, I was talking to the Smiths across the street, and I was doing their windows, and I thought I'd just come over and say hi to you. You know, my name's Johnny Cash or whatever the fuck, John Doe. And I'm doing this special. Usually I charge $20 a window. I'm doing 10 for the neighborhood. You know, blah, blah, blah. Most houses have like at least 20 windows. So $10 a window, I mean, shoot, you're walking out of there with $200. You hit about 5 houses a day. You know, that's $600 a day. Multiply that over the month, depending on how much you want to work. You know, you're making well over $10K a month. So it's honestly a great opportunity. And it doesn't even have to be with window washing. If you are really good at detailing cars, it could be detailing cars. You could do $100 per detail, hit 3 of them things a day. Boom, you're walking out pretty good. You could do pressure washing trash cans, or pressure washing the pavement or their driveways, or even just, you know, cutting grass. It could be as simple as that. So those are the physical ones. The digital ones, it's a little bit more difficult. You do have to, instead of knocking doors, you have to cold DM people, which you can get a list of like 500 people on Fiverr for like $50, which is great. And then you can email them, you can cold call them, you can do all that sort of good stuff. Granted, it does still require sales, but you don't have to be anywhere physically. And eventually you can outsource the sales part to someone else for a 10% commission, you know, which is wonderful. They can call the $500 lead list, and, you know, you can just fulfill the work, or you can, you know, push that work on to someone else to do it, and that's it, you know. It's great. So there's definitely opportunities with that, but again, it requires sales. If you're like me and hate sales, then this might not be the one for you. But if you're in a worse enough situation, you know, you get your girl pregnant or something, like, this is probably the best option for you. Next on the list is going to be something that's brand new, and that's vibe coding apps. Now, vibe coding apps, Claude AI came out, and let me tell you, you can make some crazy apps. You make some crazy apps just by telling it what app you want, which is awesome. Now, right now, there's not too many people that are talking about it or that know about it, but definitely do your own research. Definitely go mess with Claude code and stuff and see what you can vibe code. I mean, it can be as simple as a habit tracker or an alarm system or anything like that. I mean, I had an idea of putting out there where you just take pictures of your receipts and it automatically sends it to an Excel folder that you can forward over to your accountant if you're for business owners, you know. It'd be something simple as that, and people will go crazy for it, which is awesome. But this isn't going to last long. You probably have like 3 or 4 years until everyone's doing this, and it's going to be like the new drop shipping. So definitely hop on. And then finally, the best business model, I think, which is like the easiest, is low ticket info. Low ticket info is probably the best one just because everyone knows something. Like on school.com, the number one like community is for pickleball. I think I've seen like 2 pickleball courts in my entire life, and this guy's got like over 1,000 members in there. And I mean, you just need 300 people paying you $50 a month, and you're chilling, you're living good, and it's 100% profit. The only hard part with that is marketing, which, you know, make a TikTok, just post on TikTok, make a YouTube, post on YouTube, and then boom. If you're just trying to vibe and chill, it's probably the chillest way to make money, not going to lie. There's not as big of an upside as there is on, let's say, e-commerce or having an agency, aka like freelancing a service, because you can't outsource who you are. You can outsource a lot of stuff around it, but if you're just looking for a chill way to just make 3, 4, 5K online, 10K online, and maybe work like 6 hours a week, probably is the best one. You can make a cookbook for quick meals for business owners, lawyers, and doctors, and sell it for $50. Has 100 recipes. Like that's 50 cents a meal. That they're learning how to make. That's super low effort. That's pretty big value. And if you record yourself making them and they can follow along, that's great. So they can scroll through the recipes, if you want to sell it like that, or you could sell a membership where it's like $20 a month. And, honestly, after 3 months, they'll have 100 recipes down, or at least the recipes that they like down. And they might just stay to see the other people that have their own low effort recipes that they're adding in there. It could be anything that you're good at. You just have to run up some YouTube. You have to run up some social media. And that's the hardest part. But you can do it. I believe in you. You guys are awesome. So if you found this helpful, please subscribe. And please share this with someone who needs to go get a bag right now. And I hope you stick around. It really would mean a lot if you subscribe, because I want to see this community grow and stuff. And I want to help you guys out because I got a bunch of information and I want to drop it. I can't keep gatekeeping anymore. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.